The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Freshman Focus. A look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing begins May 11th with the next generation July 1st. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. Now here's your host, Roger Huston.
Welcome to another edition of Freshman Focus. We've made the trip to the Warren County Fairgrounds here in Lebanon, Ohio to visit with Jeff Nisonger about his 2-year-olds in training here in the Buckeye State. After this message, we'll sit down and talk with Jeff Nisonger.
Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. Sugar Valley's lineup of stallions includes world champion Down by the Seaside, Lather Up, the fastest horse in harness racing history, Little Brown Jug champion Well Said, and the newest stallions to the Sugar Valley lineup, Adios champion Catch the Fire, and the son of Hambletonian champion Muscle Hill, Marseille. Sugar Valley Farm, the home of champions.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus with Jeff Nisonger here at the Warren County Fairgrounds. And Jeff, you have been involved in harness racing just about your entire life.
Yeah, that's what I always wanted to do, and that's about all I remember now.
Yeah, born and raised in Greenville, Ohio. Who was your first job with?
I worked for Dave Broomball and Tim Harless, and a little bit for Tom Hope even.
What was your age in that first initial job?
Oh, probably around 9 or 10, 11 years old.
Well, that's almost child labor.
I know, right? I felt like it too.
But it's good though to get involved at an early age, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, you get your foot in the door and you learn, from the ground up. There's a lot of things I couldn't do, and with starting from the bottom up, I learned everything.
When did you start to get the inkling that you wanted to drive?
Well, at first I really liked being, working with the horses and just barn work, really. I really enjoyed that. And then it kind of, being the driver, that just started almost as a dare, really. Guy said I'd never be able to do it because I wasn't born into it, had family in it. And so that's kind of how it kind of sparked my interest to prove them wrong.
Do you remember that first drive?
I do.
Greenville?
One of them, at least. It was a trotter.
Yeah. You mentioned a trotter. All the horses we did today were pacers. Do you have any trotters?
I had one, and I got rid of it early.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get owners for trotters nowadays. They just they feel like it's too big of a risk. Yeah.
But if you get a good trotter,
there's risk and reward there.
Yeah. Saw you in the bike the other night with Doc's Boo Boo.
Yeah, that's another unique situation there.
Yeah. Friendship with Mark Winters has developed over the years, and one of the most shocking things of the Freshman Focus in years past is when you said that you halfway said it tongue-in-cheek, but your initial statement was says, well, Mark Winters picks out the horses I buy at the sale.
Well, we kind of work together, We kind of, all the horsemen kind of congregate at the sale and talk to each other. And Mark and I have been friends for a long time, and he'll show me his picks and I'll show him mine, and then we go look at them together. And it kind of makes you feel like you're getting more of your money worth when everybody's.
But you also say that even though you may sit beside each other at the sale, you'll bid against each other.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, we've done it a couple times.
Yeah.
Our owners give us a range to go, and so when one stops, the other one take
I want to get back to the pacers and the trotter thing, though. That you have primarily pacers, but you do drive a lot of trotters, don't you?
Oh yeah. Actually, I kind of prefer trotters. Makes you feel like you did something, when you do good with one of them.
Is there much of a difference driving pacers from trotters?
I mean, you can't do a lot of things, you know, put one on her toes or something quick, or you know, sometimes a trotter you gotta keep a hold of them and help them a little. Pacers, you know, nowadays you should be able to turn their head loose and go.
I think in my amateur driving, I raced one pacer down at the Red Mile. The rest were trotters, but they were all bomb-proof.
Yeah, they were the best.
Yeah. Now, with your pacers, you've got a stable of 20, and they're now, or at least, they're all pacers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We got them all down to pacers.
How many 3-year-olds?
I think there's about 4.
Any older horses?
No older horses.
What do? Sell those older horses after their 3-year-old campaign?
Yeah, they're kind of marketable when they're into their 3-year-old year. A lot of them fit non-winners races and or condition claimers. And you know, if they're even cheap horses, they got life other places, and I feel like that's the best to turn them over and start over with state colts.
The stable right now at 20 horses, is that the kind of the number that you want to have?
Yeah, I like that number. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good number. I mean, I've had up to 40 or 50, and I had about 20, 25 all winter. So,
do you have any idea how many drives you've had in your racing career?
No.
You know, I got the figure.
I would be disappointed if you didn't.
23,488 drives. Any of those drives kind of stick out in your memory?
Well, you know, laying a stone, but of course everybody remembers their good horses they drive. I think the Sire Stake final at Cleveland in the mud, a miserable night. I think I'd always remember that.
Yeah. As a driver, your horses have won $13.1 million. Although and as a trainer, you've had 3,331 training starts. Was your first year you did not train any horses? Was it just kind of a normal progression to become a trainer?
Yeah, plus, you know, you have to get your trainer's license, you know, the ages and stuff like that. Driver, you could get your driver's license before your trainer's license, so that, you know, I might have had a part of a horse or two, you know, that I wasn't down as trainer, that I had to have another trainer.
When we were with you a couple years back, your daughters were heavily involved in your stable. I guess we're a little earlier this year, and they're still in school, aren't they?
Yeah, they're at school right now. They got a couple more weeks till they're out. After
school's out, will they be back in the barn helping out?
Oh yeah, they're good about helping. My wife also. They come at night and help me feed and stuff like that. So they come around when they can.
You think either one of the two girls will go on and be involved with harness racing?
I kind of see them being involved. I don't know if they would do it for a job but I do see them.
I would be amiss if I didn't mention the fact that Jeff has a daughter, Alexa, I believe, who's a sophomore, and she's already being recruited for basketball.
There's some people watching her and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yale.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
That must be academic too.
For sure. Yeah. Both my girls get good grades.
Yeah.
I'm really strict on their schoolwork and stuff like that.
When we were at Darke County Fair in Greenville last year, they were right along with you. Do they usually go to the fairs with you?
Yeah, they'll chip right in and help, you know, race horses and stuff.
Yeah.
They just got a lot of practices and games. And
yeah.
Their school and their sports comes first for me.
Jeff, we want to thank you for giving us some time today, and a little difference in some of our freshman focus. We kind of got into the fact that he's both a trainer and a driver and the family involvement and such. We thank you. And after this message, we'll go into the barn and take a look at the 10 Ohio breds in training with Jeff Nisonger.
Your animals provide unconditional love. When they hurt, you want the best care available to help them enjoy life again. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center is here for you and for them. From heart disease to cancer, diabetes to broken bones, and 24-hour emergency services, Ohio State's team of experts make a difference in the lives of animals and the family members who love them. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center.
Racing returns to Eldorado Scioto Downs May 11th. Catch the excitement all summer long in the new grandstand. Racing Tuesday through Saturday nights. Tuesday and Wednesday post time is 3:15. Thursday through Saturday first race post time is 5:50. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with the $150,000 Next Generation on July 1st. Horse players earn points with Caesars Rewards program. Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing returns May 11th.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus as we'll go through the barn and take a look at Jeff's 2-year-olds in training. Well, Jeff, this is a 2-year-old filly pacer by the name This Is the Day by Fear the Dragon on a Rock's Confession, and the late Pacey Midland was one of the owners on this one.
Yeah, he's actually the one that picked her out, and there's 3 of us that were owners on her, and then the other owners, me and Benson and Roth, we bought Pacey's wife out.
And this, you say, is a pretty nice filly.
Yeah, she's kind of accident prone, but she's a really nice filly. I really like her, and I was hoping to let Pacey see her race. But
Has she been pretty nice out on the racetrack?
yeah, she's kind of a professional. These Fear the Dragons are a little bit, I guess, what you want to say, spirited. But she's always been good gaited and really likes her job.
Now, you've had Fear the Dragons in years past.
Oh yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Well, I've had broken hands and broken foot, and
Yeah.
the Fear the Dragons have been beating me up in the last few years.
Oh, but you still keep going back to them.
For some reason, it's kind of like this business. It's
Yeah. You got 2 Fear the Dragons this year, and what have you been with your 2-year-olds right now?
been around 211 to 215 with all of them. I try to be around 215 when I come home from South.
And you came home the 1st of April?
Yeah,
Yeah. You train at Hawkinsville.
correct.
What about Hawkinsville? It's out in no man's land, isn't it?
That's for sure. You learn how to do a lot of hunting and fishing and being by yourself.
And all the videos that I see, it's usually on rain days, or is that just because you can shoot video on rain days when you're busy doing other things?
For sure. They get some monsoons there for sure.
Okay. This is the 2-year-old filly. This Is the Day by Fear the Dragon. This is another 2-year-old filly, Pink Quartz by Pet Rock out of Pink Magic. It's not your first Pet Rock.
No, I've had quite a few.
Have they changed over the years?
Not really. I just mainly look for the crosses I like. Like this filly's out of a Ponderosa mare. That's kind of one of my go-tos is Ponderosa mares, and we kind of picked her out like that.
To tell you how racing has changed, the Ponderosa made his first start the 2nd week of August at the Meadows during Adios Week. It's changed over the years, getting horses to the races, haven't they?
Oh, sure, for sure.
Why are the races that are strung out so much more now in these days? But in the past, there weren't as many stakes, and they were a certain part of the season. But now they're stretched out from the beginning of May to the end of October.
It takes a lot to keep one sharp that long.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot.
Now you said it's hard to get one sharp that long. Is that because of age or just it's a natural thing?
I think it's just the time frame of when the stakes are. It's only usually, say, a 3 or 4 months, but to keep a horse sharp for 3 or 4 months from sickness and lameness is quite
pretty good size Pet Rock, isn't it?
Yeah, she's a nice filly. She's actually one of my favorite of the barn. She's probably not the best horse I got, but she always shows up for work every day, and I really like her.
Where'd you get her at?
I got her at the Springfield sale.
Springfield sale?
Yep. I own half of her with John Stamp. Seems like a nice filly.
He's been an owner with you for a number of years, hasn't he?
He's had other trainers, and he's been in the business for a long time.
Yeah. This is the Pet Rock filly, Pink Quartz. This is the 2-year-old filly, Seaside Streaker by Down by the Seaside out of It Can Happen. Down by the Seaside, known for largeness, so to speak. They're quite large. How would you rate this filly?
She's a good sized filly. She's not the big growthy, big bone filly, but she's definitely a big filly. Wears a nice size hobble.
Do you notice any particular or the same traits on your Down by the Seasides?
Yeah, they're kind of an aggressive horse. This filly here's getting. I had to back off going with company the first trip because she was getting so hot. But I noticed a lot of them. It's keeping them quiet.
You have it seems like a majority of fillies. I think of the 10 we're looking at, we got 8 fillies and just 2 geldings. Is it harder to train a filly?
You know, I don't think so. I think sometimes the colts are kind of drive me nuts a little more than the fillies. I get along good with the fillies. Fillies can be more temperamental and sassy, but I don't know. I always like the fillies, and it seems like every year I end up with more fillies than colts.
Where did you get this one?
This one was sold at the select sale, but they no-sailed her, and they bought her private after the select sale.
How much you have to go for her?
I believe it was around close to 40, I believe.
Do you have a certain range that you try to keep within?
I let the pedigree kind of decipher that, you know. It just depends on the owner what they're looking for, you know.
Everybody's got to have a Down by the Seaside though nowadays, don't they?
I think so, to compete.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, you're going to have flukes, and that's really what we're all looking for in the end. But you got to have one.
And as we talked earlier about, you run the gamut. The Seasides will be real big probably for 5 to 10 years, and then there'll be other signs that come along, and then they back off of it, just like Pet Rock, so to speak.
Yep. You can name quite a few that's done that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Has she been an easy filly to train?
Yeah, we've been. I think we were in 211 the other day with her to the jog cart, and she's pretty handy filly. Just got to keep her mind straight.
Is 211 about normal at this time of the season for you?
For me, it is. But you know, I'm on my own schedule. I don't worry about whatever. You know.
Did you miss many days down in Hawkinsville?
Very few. I've missed more since I've been home in 3 weeks. Now than I did all winter.
Yeah. You just said when we were talking before we got started today, you backed off your training days because of the weather.
Yeah, it's Wednesday today, and I've been trying to train since Monday.
Yeah. This is the 2-year-old filly by Down by the Seaside. This is Seaside Streaker. This is another 2-year-old filly, Diamonds by the Sea by Down by the Seaside out of Black Diamonds. And what caught my eye on this one, Jeff, is the fact that you had knee spreaders on her.
Yeah, since I've been home on a half, she always went right at her knees down south on the mile track. And now that we're home, she's going right at them pretty good. So.
I got to admit, though, in the 3 years of Freshman Focus, this is the first horse we featured, I think, that wore knee spreaders.
Well, there's a first for everything. I just think getting her ready with them now is going to help her out.
You think that'll be something that you'll eventually take off when she gets to the races, maybe?
Well, wishful thinking, but probably not.
No, it's your
probably not. I've heard quite a few of the Seasides will hit their knees. This filly's a nice filly, though. I really don't know if it's even going to bother her too much. I mean, it's definitely going to take a little bit out of her for hitting her knees, but.
Is there similarities between this Down by the Seaside and the other one we looked at?
Well, one good thing is they're both game. They're always ready to train, and they are aggressive. This filly is as aggressive as the other one, but she's more manageable.
This is the filly, Diamonds by the Sea, Down by the Seaside. This is another 2-year-old filly by Western Terror out of Shantytown Girl named Trembletown. And I notice on the stalls you don't have the regular name on, you got just Terror. I figured this is who it was, but you weren't sure what the horse's name was to begin with, were you?
Yeah, I get horses all winter for people that either they're having bad weather or they don't want to train their babies down or get them ready. So I acquire a lot of horses. I think when I come home, I sent maybe 10 horses back to their trainers and owners before I come home. And then these 2 here are from J.D. Perrin. I'm going to get them ready for him, and then he'll take them back and race them.
They devote all their time right now to the race horses going, and so is this the first time you've trained for J.D.?
Yeah, his babies it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as soon as they get to the races, then they'll take him back
take him
and be
back,
part
yep.
of that operation.
Yep.
How's Trembletown doing?
She's doing good. I really like her. That's another trait with Western Terriers, is they're aggressive and kind of bully. She's got a little bit of that in her. She's probably one of my faster ones I got.
Which is more important, the stallion or the mare?
I'm all about the mare. Yeah, I'm all about the mare. My go-to that's been good for me in the past is Cam Luck and Ponderosa mares, so that's kind of something I look for when I'm at the sales.
Of course, this is out of a mare by Towner's Big Guy, who was pretty good.
Yeah, that's not too bad either.
Now, have you been around 211 with this one as well?
Yeah, I think she's been around 12 or 14.
Oh, not quite as fast as the others.
Some of them, I get later, and they're on their own little schedule, but yeah, she's just as fast as anything I got.
Yeah. By how many years, you've been down at Hawkinsville, what, 2 or 3, 4 years?
I believe 3, maybe.
And you mentioned that other trainers give you horses to take to Hawkinsville.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, Strattons, I've trained some for Strattons. Mike Hall.
Yeah.
I've trained for a lot of guys. Some people here on our fairgrounds send me horses.
Yeah. How many horses did you have at Hawkinsville this year?
About 25 roughly, give or take.
Keeps you busy.
Yeah. This year was a little low for me, but we got through it.
You looking forward to the time when school's out and the 2 daughters are back in the stable operation?
Yeah, for some more free help.
More free help. This is Trembletown by Western Terror. This is the filly Believe in Legends by Bit of a Legend Inn out of Ruthless Hill. This is out of, no pun intended, a jug winner.
Yeah, she's okay. She's probably not on my top of my list. I've only had one Bit of a Legend. I think this is the first year.
Have you noticed the foreign bred stallions, Bit of a Legend Inn, of course, the stallions any different from the stallions we have right here in the States?
I really don't notice much. No, I can't tell.
Not that much difference.
No.
Now it appears though, when they come over from Australia or Sweden or someplace like that, those kind of horses, when they first come racing, they kind of dominate though.
Yeah, I don't know if it's their style of training or how they condition their horses, but it's definitely, there's something to it.
Yeah, so you don't think it's really the bloodlines that's it?
I don't think so, because like we talked before, you look at the pedigrees now and it's a lot of the U.S. bred.
Is she on the small side?
No, I'd say she's average.
Yeah.
I'd say average for a baby. She's got a little more room to grow.
How about the breaking of her? Was she easy to break?
Yeah, she was real nice.
Yeah.
She's been actually very pleasant. Been kind of lazy, really.
Now, when you went to Hawkinsville, had you already broke your horses and everything? Do you do that up here?
Yeah, I do all my own. Some other trainers, they break theirs and send them to me, but all mine that were sent to me after the sale, I break everything.
Yeah. As soon as the sale's over.
Immediately, like the next day.
And a lot of them have got some of the farms that are pretty well broke even from the sale.
Oh, I always I get some homebreds here and there, and I'll take a horse run through the sale any day over farm.
Now, we've jogged all these horses already this morning, but they all seem very calm and at ease.
Yeah, I think a little bit helps with that shed row life down there. You know, they see a lot in the winter, and my barn's right beside the track, so they're they're pretty seasoned by the time I'm done with them.
This is Believe in Legends by Bit of a Legend Inn. This is another filly, Queen Bee and Me by Yankee Cruiser out of Hurricane Queen Rose. I was going to say off the name, maybe named for Queen Bee, who was Bee Farber, who was the driver, but it actually goes to the mare, Hurricane Queen Rose. And I can't get over the head on this one with that blaze. Normally the blaze comes down halfway, but this one goes all the way down and then makes a curve and goes to the nostril. A little different. I haven't seen one like that for a while.
Yeah, a little unique, ain't it?
She's got a good color to it, so all the white goes light real well with it.
Yep. This is a Yankee Cruiser filly. She, I had her brother, her full brother. It's kind of what drew me to her, to buy her at the sale. Bought her at the Select sale, or at the Lexington sale. And I had her brother. He was a pretty nice horse, and this filly is maybe a little bit on the opposite side. She's really horsey, and she knows she's a girl, that's for sure.
Of course, this one goes back to Some Beach Somewhere, the sire of the dam.
Yep. She's a nice filly. I've been in 212 with her also.
Yeah. Anything different about her than from the others that you have?
Not really, other than we had to start her on meds for her ovaries and stuff. You know, she's real sassy.
That is very important, though, when you're training fillies. Is you have they have problems just like everybody else, and it carries on into the horses.
Yeah, for sure, and that's also why we, I always make sure I castrate all my colts.
Yeah.
You don't need any of that extra hormones.
Have you ever carried a horse being a colt, or do you castrate them all?
My plan's to castrate them all as soon as possible.
Unless an owner...
Yeah, I'm the only stud in the barn.
On that, we'll end here. This is the filly Queen Bee and Me by Yankee Cruiser. This is the 2-year-old gelding Gatorpleadthefifth by Well Said. One of the 2 geldings that we're featuring today. And when did you geld your horses?
I usually around October, November.
Yeah, right after the sale?
Right after sales is when I try to.
Most of the colts come to the sale as colts, I would guess.
Yeah.
And then they leave it up to whoever buys if they want to.
A very few come gelded, and then you have questions, why are they gelded?
Yeah. So you do it as soon as the sale's over and you bring them back. This is make it a lot easier to break them?
I think so. I do it. I get them broke first, and then I castrate them and do their teeth all at the same time. I mean, I've even had them on the ground. I've had the blacksmith and the vet and the dentist doing. We'd lay them down and just go right through them. One year I did like 6 or 8. I had 3 people on each baby.
Yeah. How much time do they miss when you geld a horse?
None. I don't give them any time off.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the best way to do it's castrate them and turn them right out, let them out in the field. But I just do it in the barn and jog the next day.
Do some of them though carry the traits of a stallion even after they're gelded?
I'm sure. Yeah. I think a little bit of it just takes off the aggressiveness and the biting and the meanness. Like the ones I cut this year, I had some what you'd call orangutans,
Yeah.
And that just kind of mellows them right out. It doesn't take as much as what people think out of them, really.
Now, have your geldings gone as much as the fillies have, or are they even faster?
Oh, I got them all at the same spot. Yeah, they're all at the same spot. Yeah. I like this colt though.
Do you hear at Warren County Fairgrounds, did you get a chance to school them behind a starting gate or anything?
The guys do a little bit. I do mine all down south.
Even down in Hawkinsville?
Yeah. Before I come home, I've gate schooled, hooked to the race bike. I mean, I'm early doing it, but I want to get it all done down there because it's like my own training center, and there's not a lot of things going on. When I come home, it's it's a half-mile track, and a lot of things are going on. So I try to have everything, all my ducks in a row when I come home.
Now, this makes it easy for the stable racing at Miami Valley, a little harder on Hollywood Dayton, and at Eldorado side of the Downs, you got a little more shipping. And actually, you don't race that much at Miami Valley, though, do you?
No, I actually kind of miss it.
Yeah.
I get home about 2 or 3 weeks before they close.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I miss it.
Yeah. Now, he's starting to act up a bit.
Yep. Yeah.
Is that because he's a male instead of the...
He's just ornery. He's always playful. This is one of the reasons why we cut a bunch of them, or the few that I cut this year. He was a pretty high-strung colt. His brother was the same way, though.
You know, he seems kind of broad in the chest.
Yeah, I got a full brother to him, a 3-year-old, and he developed into a big colt, real big colt.
Will they grow much from the 2-year-old season to the 3-year-old?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Does that change them in any way?
Maturity level, as in their head and their muscles and their bone. I really think, you know, if we were forced to and not race 2-year-olds, it would be a game changer for 3-year-olds. But we're forced to race for the money, you know, 2- and 3-year-old.
Do you have a certain number of starts you want in your 2-year-olds?
Oh, the best, you know, when I was younger, it was like 10 or 12. Now I'd say you could get up to easy 15 now.
Yeah. I won't mention the name of the stable, and I don't want you to either, but there's one stable I know, they shoot for 25.
Yeah, and I know who you're talking about.
So you like keeping around that 10 to 12 mark.
You know, that's the best. I mean, I do race them a lot, you know, especially if you don't plan on keeping them and selling them at the end of their 2-year-old year. You try to get all you can out of them.
He may be a gelding, but he's fractious as a colt. This is the gelding Gatorpleadthefifth by Well Said. This is another gelding, Splash Dragon by Fear the Dragon, out of Sugar Coated by the Ponderosa, who you mentioned early on. And I see why they're geldings, because they'd be really rambunctious if they're still colts.
Yeah, it doesn't take all of it out of them. Like a lot of guys, they don't want to keep them stud for all that, but I don't believe in all that. Like this colt's still rank.
How about out on the racetrack?
He mellows out a little bit, but he still stays high-strung. Once again, he's a Fear the Dragon, so he's bred to be silly.
You mentioned high-strung. Change the equipment to get around that, or can you?
You know, I've tried a little of everything on them, and the Fear the Dragons are very odd. They're just different. Not bad, not good, but just different.
You know, it's going to be wild because we've got a Kelly O'Donnell scheduled for an upcoming Freshman Focus, and all of his 2-year-olds are Fear the Dragons.
He's my idol. I don't know how he does it.
So they're a handful.
They are. This one broke my foot this year. One last year broke my hand. The Fear the Dragons have been tough on me.
Now, he doesn't seem as big as some of the other horses you got. Even some of the fillies look a little bigger than he is.
Yeah, he's smaller and petite.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been about the same speed as the rest of them. He can keep up with them good. He just got to overcome himself.
Yeah. When will you go to the race bikes?
Well, anytime soon, as soon as the weather. You know, down there I worked them all in 15 to the race bike before I come home.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. They've all been to the bike at least 3 times now.
Yeah.
But then since I've been home, I've been around 11 to 15 to the jog cart.
Qualify, what, the first 2 weeks of June?
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly right. As soon as Scioto Downs starts letting the babies qualify, I'll start a group of them.
This is the gelding Splash Dragon by Fear the Dragon. This is the filly Lady Julia by Yankee Cruiser, out of Bad Leading Lady, who, with the bad, you know, goes back to the big bad John. How's Lady Julia doing?
Good. She's one that just loves her work. Very, very calm, pleasant filly to be around. I'm kind of getting partial to these Yankee Cruisers for the last 4 or 5 years. We bought her at the select sale.
She will not need spreaders.
No, correct. She actually paddles a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was she easy to break?
Yes, very. Yep. Everybody in the barn fights to get to her to jog.
Yeah.
She's one of the nicer joggers.
Does she tend to be a little feisty? I know she's acting up more as a filly than any of the other fillies that you got.
Not normally. She's usually actually one of our calmer ones. The bit of the legend and this filly are 2 lazier ones.
How fast do you bring them down? You go in 220. When do you reach 215?
You know, when I get to 20, I hang at 20 for a good while. I like a lot of 20. I think 20 is a good foundation. 3 or 4 seconds, if that, you know. And a lot of times it goes with the horse in the set. You know, you put a really nice set of horses together, they get a little racy, and sometimes you'll, you know, especially with help and stuff, you don't never know what you're going to go. But I always give my help, you know, between 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah. Now, you really try to keep them all together. You're training sets, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to go over 3 or 4. You know, that way I can have more control of everything. You get too many in a set, then I lose control of everything, and I'm kind of a.
Yeah. Now you mentioned dual eligible. About all we hear about is Ohio and Kentucky. But you actually got, Ohio and Florida, you got Ohio and Iowa?
Yep, I got a little of everything.
Yeah.
I've got, I think I got two Ohio, Iowa. I've got a couple Florida, Ohio. I've got a Kentucky and an Ohio.
Now, we know you'll probably race in Ohio and Kentucky, both.
Right.
But do you think you'll go to Florida? You think you'll go to Iowa?
Them I'll probably send off to people. Yeah, that might be a little too much for me.
Oh, you got to go to Iowa. That's a great bunch of people out there.
Yeah, I might try it someday.
Okay. This is the 2-year-old filly, Lady Julia by Yankee Cruiser. Well, that wraps up another edition of Freshman Focus. We'd like to thank Jeff Nisonger and his entire crew for making our job real easy this morning. Join us again next week, same time, same location for Freshman Focus. Mwah.
This has been Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing begins May 11th with the next generation July 1st. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. Freshman Focus is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.